had a fraught relationship. During 4th grade, in the few minutes between dressing out and actually going outside, Hunt Burdick told me that I had cooties, so I tried to kick him. He grabbed my leg and threw me backwards into the tile floor. Outside, Coach Bowie told me to walk it off and then made me jump rope for 45 minutes before returning to my classroom for the Valentine's Day party. I spent the next 3 days in the hospital with a concussion while my classmates underwent sensitivity training. Fast forward to high school, where the Texas educational system required 3 semesters of physical education. That's 54 weeks, 270 days, and 12,150 minutes. Accordingly, I filled my course schedule with anything but, hoping that the state legislature would change requirements before they actually affected me. Before I knew it, I was in the middle of my junior year, and 54 weeks, 270 days, and 12,150 minutes of PE stood before me, in a row. But of course, only future felons took actual PE. Sports people received credit for practice, and the rest of us were forced to sign up for those same courses with the title recreational in front of them. So I signed up for recreational tennis. To my great surprise, Coach Jerry Pippin was delighted to see me, remembering all of my own extremely athletic uncles from his own days at that very same high school. I quickly assured him that I had no athletic ability and was not like my uncles in any way. All the while, he crafted a plan to make me his own personal project as some sort of strange fraternal favor to my relatives. While other people hit balls and got to choose their own partners for doubles, I was partnered with creepy old Coach Pippin every single day for a 45-minute lesson. Midway through the semester, I found out that he had been giving my Uncle Brian updates about my progress over copious amounts of Coors Light and laughter. At the end of the semester, Coach called me into his office, looked right at me, and guffawed something about a lost cause, and then boldly stated, "You have the coordination of a chain link fence." As I envisioned those words as the title of my eventual autobiography, he concluded, "But your uncle says you know how to type, and the GD school board requires a written final now. So you're gonna go to the library, look up some facts about tennis, and write me a final." So began a great partnership between Coach and I that lasted throughout the entire next semester. I took attendance, reserved buses for the tennis team, and walked to his house once to check on his dog during a cold snap. I also got 100 for my semester average. And then recreational tennis stopped being offered. Since I had a semester of PE left, I surveyed my options and decided upon dance. Mostly because I had heard a thing or two about the class. Thing 1, Mrs. Rankin was old. Thing 2, dance class meant sitting on the stage of the gym and doing your homework, occasionally accompanied by classical music. This I could get behind. But on the first day of class, I knew my best laid plans were crushed. Mrs. Rankin stood on the stage in a stretchy black ensemble from Chico's and announced that she would be retiring at the end of the semester. Our class would be the entertainment for her retirement party, an event attended by all faculty members, the entire school board, community artists, the mayor, and various invited guests. Mayday, mayday, mayday. She knew most of the students in class, actual dancers, or people who had devoted their entire 3 semesters to her. She divided us up into groups, took one look at me, and said, "You do theater, right? You'll be in the show tunes group." At the risk of sounding redundant, mayday, 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 she explained to us that each group had 2 leaders who would work to choreograph a performance around our given theme. And then she largely disappeared for the rest of the semester. The show tunes group was the largest, so we were given the most time to fill. Our task would be a 6-minute medley that included some of the greats and ended in the famed kick line 1 from a chorus line. Over the course of the entire semester, I showed up to class, rehearsed diligently with my group mates, on the days that I wasn't ditching to go to the library, but I never came close to mastery or even competence of any of the dance steps. I approached my group leaders repeatedly with my concerns, and each time they confidently offered, "Just keep trying, you'll get it." But I didn't get it. In fact, there was no progress. I started the semester with the coordination of a chain link fence, and at least I remained consistent. As the day of the performance approached, my family received an invitation in the mail, and I removed it from the refrigerator immediately. When my mom asked me for the date a few days later, I gave her the wrong one. I didn't fully understand why nobody believed me when I repeatedly told them, "I physically cannot do this. I have tried. It is going to be a disaster." Everyone chuckled and told me they were looking forward to it. On the day of the performance, I arrived at the call time and got dressed in my black dance pants, white button-down, and jaunty red scarf. I still remember looking in the locker room mirror as I applied my very red Clinique Sweetheart lipstick, and I thought to myself, you know, I've seen a lot of performances, and the thing I always notice is whether or not the person performing looks like they're having a good time. In that garish green and white tiled room, I resolved to hold my head high and smile through the entire 6 minutes. As Ethel Merman blared, "I had a dream," through the gym speakers, I took the stage smiling. I couldn't really see any members of the audience, but I knew that the gym was full. And no, it really wasn't that bad. Of course I was missing steps, but there were 15 of us on stage. I knew where I was supposed to be, and I had a minimal grasp of what I was supposed to be doing. The minutes passed quickly, and it was time for the big finale, the kick line from a chorus line. So I smiled and kicked, smiled and kicked, smiled and kicked, and then moved right. But I was supposed to move left. And when somebody moves the wrong way in a kick line, well, before I knew it, I heard the sound of a wooden pallet crashing to the floor. When I shifted the line in the wrong direction, 2 girls to the right had fallen and knocked over one of the set pieces, and on my left was this large gap before the remainder of the girls were dancing perfectly in formation. So there I was at the center of the stage, smiling and kicking, smiling and kicking. Eventually, the curtain came down and our entire class took the stage for final bows, because the show tune group was obviously the big finale. And I avoided eye contact with literally everyone, while Mrs. Rankin asked to see us all in the locker room. There, she thanked the class for celebrating her retirement and handed each dancer a pink carnation. Except for me. Aww. After I changed clothes and walked outside, I saw my mom and grandmother waiting for me. I was furious that they had come. When they tried to offer words of encouragement, I stopped them. On the way home, my grandmother began to giggle in the front seat. When my mom whispered, "Not now, not now, not now," while I shouted, "What?" from the back seat. Unable to control herself, my grandmother laughed a story about the woman sitting next to them. At the end of our medley, she gently touched my grandmother's hand, smiled warmly, and said, "It's so nice that they let the special ones participate." When I received my report card, my dance grade was 30 points lower than my tennis grade, a 70, that knocked me out of the top 10% and revoked my admission to the University of Texas at Austin. I had spent the last 6 years dreaming about my life as a Longhorn. But turns out, all universities in the UT system have an undergraduate PE requirement. And I was just a bit too special for that.